In this video, I'm going to be walking you through how to create a clean, professional WordPress website. I'm going to be taking you through step by step from beginning to end, how to create a professional WordPress website. Now, you'll see from the length of this video that this is not your typical, how to make a website in 20 minutes. Here's how to use AI to build a website in 30 seconds. I'm not about that. The reason I created this tutorial and the reason I created this channel was to end the, just the hype, low value content that's out there and create truly valuable content that actually shows you what it really takes to make a website. Because I don't care what these people tell you. And I personally use AI every day myself, so I'm not saying that AI isn't powerful, but any of them that tell you that you can build a website in 30 seconds, in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, it's just not possible. There's so many other things that actually go into building a website, and that is what you're going to see in this video. And so this is a dedicated video to showing you how you can create a super professional website in still a short amount of time, but as you'll see, it doesn't happen in 30 minutes. I've gone deep in this video, and this is going to be one that I've got the chapters down below. You can go through it as you need, but I made it to be as valuable as possible to take you right from the beginning to the end of creating a professional design that shows you how to do it with completely free templates. I'm going to be walking you through step by step how to use Elementor, why I recommend it for beginners and how I use it, and why I use it for most of my client builds. And I'm going to be taking my 10 years of experience in copywriting, marketing, and design to create a truly valuable tutorial, taking you through a pre-made wireframe. I'm going to be walking you through how to go and actually step by step how to recreate it and make it for yourself, so you learn those skills, understand conversion, understand UX structure, so you don't just create a website that looks nice, but actually performs, but actually converts, and actually is a proper website, isn't just a throw together like most of these tutorials out there are. I created this video because I'm just sick and tired of all the hype, all the fakery, and all the low value content. So if you're someone that values true depth, truly wants to actually make a website that truly works, and values actually doing things properly, then you've clicked onto the right video. I've made this video to be as valuable as I possibly can, and I've even down in the description below, you'll see I've got a free downloadable launch pack that includes a number of different things to help you with getting started with your first website, including troubleshooting, ChatGPT prompting, guidance for your website, and a completely ready to go wireframe, and then also another free template of the one they're actually built out at the end. So you've got everything you can need to get yourself started. You're going to get to the end of this video and you're going to have a very strong skill. You're going to go from not knowing anything about building a website, an absolute beginner, right through to being a pro at understanding building websites. So well done for clicking onto this video, and I look forward to taking you through. Let's go. Okay, so the first thing you're obviously going to want to do before you go through and set up your website is you're going to need hosting. Now, some of you might be watching this tutorial and you already have hosting set up, and that's perfectly fine. But for those of you who haven't got yourself hosting yet, I know so many people, the biggest question is, who should I go through for hosting? And as someone who's built websites now for over 10 years, I can say without a doubt that Cloudways is the way to go. It's what I use personally for myself for building out my websites for my businesses. And it's also what I use for building websites for clients. Now, there are a number of reasons that I could go into why I choose Cloudways. And it's not the most common one that you hear people talking about, but you'll actually find that most agencies and, professional web designers and, people that actually understand the importance of, a quality, proper hosting, they will recommend these guys. And they are, there's many things I could go into, but some of the biggest reasons that I recommend them is they've got them listed here, but performance, they are cutting edge in terms of it's so much better than just your shared hosting that, all these other ones, out there that I've used them in the past. And, when it comes to performance, they are drastically, behind. Flexibility, reliability,
I've never had issues with downtime or anything like that, or just weird things happening. And the biggest thing for me, and I know for a lot of you guys being beginners, is actually their support. I've used a lot of different hosting providers over the years, and some of their support is just so bad. And these guys are absolutely phenomenal with their support. I've never had an issue not, solved by them and not been able to, actually speak to a human. And that's a huge thing for me. And it's just why I recommend these guys. But just so you know that, aside from, its speed, its ease of use, and, just the different things you can do with it, like, just so you know that I'm not just some guy, promoting them just to get an affiliate link. And by all means, definitely I have a link down below that is an affiliate link. And I also have a special discount code, which I'll give to you guys in a moment. But just so you know that I genuinely am recommending these, let's just quickly compare some of the biggest ones out there, so you know that pricing wise, where they stand. So we're just quickly going to look at the other guys. So if we go through and we have a look at Hostinger, which is one of the biggest ones that people, recommend in tutorials on all that, because it seems like the easy and the simple one. But the truth is, or the cheapest one even. But if you look at this, we've got web hosting on here, and they trick you. So they make you think, oh, it's $4.59 only a month, but that's not actually true. That's actually locking you into 48 months with them at $220 up front. So not just even monthly. So if you actually change it, you only want to pay them per month. It's already for their basic one here, 21. For their business one or their basic one, it's already $20 a month. And it's still honestly kind of basic what you can do. You can only create up to 3 websites on it. And, this one says you can create up to 50, but that's the pricing they're at there. Then Wix, I have a lot of things I could say about these guys. They are amazing in some aspects, but nothing beats WordPress. And at the same time, it's just, they limit you in what you can do and edit with these ones. So, again, starting at least $21 just at that one, and still very limited in terms of their actual hosting. I've tried them, and their hosting, like, is just, you're built into and stuck into, their things. And then finally, Squarespace, another big one, and there it starts at $24, or they recommend, the $39, and that's at paying monthly. You can also pay annually, and that's an upfront cost as well. But as you can see, their pricing. Now, if we go back to Cloudways, we go to view plans, and then, we come down here. You have so much selection on, there's so much more autonomy on what you can actually choose. And if you go down to the prices here, I would recommend DigitalOcean. I'll show you in a moment. But for you guys just starting out, building your first basic website, you could honestly get away with just on a $14 a month one, and then you can upgrade at any time. So that's the awesome thing about Cloudways. Other ones is just you pay for your air amount, and it's a lot more difficult to upgrade. But these guys, make it so easy. And even just at the $14 a month, that's going to be enough for a lot of you. So, and then the other option is you can start at $28 a month, which is still comparable to these guys anyway, and much better in terms of speed and everything that you're getting here. But in terms of just starting out, you could easily start yourself on a $14 plan. So it's completely up to you, but Cloudways is who I'd recommend. And, I couldn't recommend them all any more highly than I could. You haven't got hosting yet, then I'd highly recommend clicking the link down in the description below. It's going to take you to signing up for Cloudways here. And I'll briefly walk you through and show you just how easy it is to set it up. And then we're going to get into the design portion. So what you do, if you want to sign up for Cloudways, all you do is just simply hit try now for free. And then we come to here. Now, what we're going to do is you're just going to type in your name. So I'm going to put in my name and fill this out. And then just going to go to, doesn't really matter for this. And now you're going to say, I have a promo code. And now if you typed in IsaacDesign like that, and then that will come up. And then that's an exclusive deal that you can't get, it's not just a, follow my affiliate link. This is a genuine 20% less off your monthly pricing, which you already saw the $14, and which means you get it down to around $11 or so, which is awesome for you guys. So what you're going to do, so if you're following through, just type in IsaacDesign in here if you want a discount, and why would you not? And then, of course, that is an affiliate. I'll get some kind of kickback, but this is just a way to support the channel. But also, like, I genuinely would not recommend this if I wasn't using it. That's just who I am. I cannot stand hype. I cannot stand fakery. So when I say that this is who I recommend, this is who I recommend. And I'll do more videos in the future that'll go really into detail about these guys. But for now, let's just go through, and then you would just hit sign up.
Okay, so once you've signed yourself up and logged in, you're going to be brought to this screen here. So all we simply need to do now is just press launch now. Okay, so you're going to be brought to this screen here. So what you're going to choose first is you're going to pick from here. You're going to choose WordPress optimized. So you're going to pick that as the application that we're going to install. So we're going to install WordPress. Then you're just going to you can give it a name, server here. So you can simply leave those as they are, or you can give them a name. So you can just give this your business name here again. And then, even if you want your business name here again, or you can simply leave them as your application, your server, your project. You can change these at any time, and it's really, it's not that big of a deal. And then you come down here. So you're going to see a lot of options here. You've got DigitalOcean, Vultr, Inode, AWS. Now you're going to see that it changes the pricing depending on what you pick. And, some of you might be a bit confused with what all these means. Essentially, these are just different server providers. And for majority cases and for beginners and you're just starting out, and all I ever use myself is DigitalOcean. I find them to be the best, and they're also the most affordable. So you can have a few options here. So you can start it on the $28 a month, and 2 gig is a perfect amount that's going to ensure that your website runs smoothly and everything, runs easily and well. However, if you're just starting out and you're looking to save a bit of money when you're first starting, you're more than welcome to just start yourself on the 1 gigabyte. It's going to come up with this here to say that it's recommended at least 2 gigabyte. But I've found for just basic websites, if I'm just going to have the one website, 1 gig is perfectly fine and enough. And at any time, you can go through and upgrade to 2 gig if you need, or further again. So this is why I love Cloudways, because it's just so easy to upgrade. And you actually see your prices very easily, and it's so much easier to upgrade than other ones. So yeah, so you make your choice here, what you want to go with. I'm just going to go with the $14 a month one for this server that I'm showing you guys. And then you just want to pick a location. So the easiest way to explain this is just picking the closest city in the country that you live in. So I live in Australia, so I pick Sydney here. So just pick Sydney, and then it's $14 a month. And then, yeah, we'll leave it there. So as easy as that, you just simply make sure that you click WordPress. That's what we're installing. Give these a name or leave them as they are. Come down here, go to DigitalOcean and pick 1 gig or 2 gig, depending on what you want to do. But knowing that 1 gig is going to be perfectly fine for a lot of you when you're starting out, and very well priced. As you saw earlier on, that's actually cheaper than the other guys when you compare it paying monthly. Okay. So what we're going to do is then we're just going to simply hit launch now.
So now you're going to have this here waiting. So this is just a waiting game now of waiting for your server to be created for us. And once that's done and everything's live, we're going to go into actually setting everything up. So all you need to do now is wait 7 minutes for the server to be created. Go get yourself a coffee, go for a bit of a stretch, a bit of a walk around, whatever you need to do. Use this a bit of a time and reset. Should give yourself a pat on the back too for getting to this part. This is already some of the more complex things done. And we're going to get into more of the actual website building very shortly. Okay, so once that's done, you're going to be brought to this area here, which is where you're going to see your server ready to rock and roll. It's live, and then we're going to have our applications here. Now, all we need to do now is simply just go to whatever you've got here under applications. You can click that. Now, again, you're going to think this looks very confusing and everything, but trust me, if you're at the back end of any of the other hosting providers, they look, this is just so much cleaner. So don't worry if it looks confusing. I promise you, once most of this stuff will really, none of it really needs to apply to you, other than a few things that I'll show you through later on. Remember, I'm here to walk you through step by step. So now we've essentially got our website ready to go on here on our server here. We're going to put our own domain name in soon. Don't worry about that. But the most important thing and the first thing to do is just to go through and design our website. So what you're going to see now is you're going to see the access details. So I'm in here. If you haven't clicked that, hasn't gone to here, or you've clicked around, you want to go to access details. And then you're going to see application URL. But what we want to do is go to the admin panel. So this is where we sign into our website. And this is now we move into designing our WordPress website. So all I want you to do is click this one here to open a new tab. And it's going to go to your website with WP admin to log in. And then you're just going to come back here and it's going to have them both perfectly there for you. So you can copy that and then just put that one in there. And then you're going to have a password and you can copy that. Now you can edit it if you want, but I recommend only having it being able to access once you log in and then just save it somewhere, copy it, and then you can put it in here. And then you can even hit remember me so you don't have to log in every time, and then all good to go. Okay, so remember, copy this one, username, put it in there. Copy password, put it in there. And then we're just going to simply hit log in. Okay guys, so now we are in the back end of your WordPress website. So I just want to take a moment to let you make sure that you give yourself a little pat on the back for getting to this stage. I remember the very first time that I created my first WordPress website, and even just getting to this stage felt like a massive accomplishment, and it is. So I just want to make sure that you take some time to give yourself a little pat on the back for getting to this stage. And now this is when the fun stuff happens. So this video is predominantly going to be about me showing you a deep dive into, how to use Elementor well, and a free version, and how we can make a really clean website that's not just good looking, but also follows proven copywriting principles and UX structure, which is overlooked in most, if not all, tutorials. And that's why I created this channel, was to start actually bringing real true value to YouTube, because I just know that this has been missing for so long. And so that's the mainly thing we're going to be doing in this tutorial. So I'm not going to be going deep into every different section here of understanding WordPress. I will do future videos that can just be just about understanding WordPress deeply, but for this one we're just going to be focusing on the design aspect and everything like that, which arguably is the most important thing anyway. There's a lot of these things in here you're not really going to need to use all that much most of the time anyway. But while we're here, I can just give you a very quick, very basic overview of everything. So firstly, we've just got the dashboard area here. So this is just simply when you sign in, you've just got a dashboard here where you go through and, you can see an overview of all the different plugins and things and all that you've had installed. And to be honest, this section here is pretty much obsolete. Most of the time I just dismiss all these. And if you want to clean it up, you can move all these like that. And then I can just make that look a little bit more clean and easier to look at. But from other than that, you're not really going to need to really worry too much about this dashboard setting here. Then you've got the next one here is posts. So you've got the posts here. This is just where you can add in blog posts and things like that. But for most of you, that's not going to be needed. And then media, this is obviously just when you start uploading things is when media will be added. Again, not one that you're going to need to visit all that often. Pages, this will be one. This will be where we're going to create our home page. We're going to be able to create our different contact page and, services pages, all the different ones as we would need to, depending on what you would need for your business. So pages is an important one, and you can understand that in a moment. Comments, not really important because by default, comments are turned off for WordPress websites now. Appearance, this is where we just put in a basic theme, but we're going to be using Elementor, so this doesn't really matter. Plugins, this is going to be important. Essentially what plugins are just ways that expand the ability of, WordPress to be able to use it more effectively and be able to do more things with it. So, yeah, we're just going to see in a moment that we're going to install a few different plugins and use those. And I'll walk you through that. And then users, that's just where you have your different users and everything for your, whether you logged in or you could have multiple people. But again, that's not going to be that needed. And then tools section here, we're not going to really need to use that all that much. Settings, I'll show you through. There's just a few things we can change around. But by default, most of them are pretty good these days with WordPress. So there's not really anything we need to change. And then other than that, pretty much ready to go. So the very first thing that we want to do is go through and install Elementor. Because if you look right now, if we go to here, we visit our site, we just see this. We see nothing really at all. It doesn't really look like a website. And you'll see it's already installed this 2025 theme, basic template. And you can click edit side here and you can start building it from here. But from my honest opinion, someone who's been building websites for nearly 10 years, I'm not a fan of WordPress's native builder. It can just be a little bit clunky, and there's a lot more, just a lot more learning curve for using it. So that's why I'm going to recommend that we use Elementor for you guys. It's what I use myself for building out websites and what I use for clients. It's just the easiest way to build a website, a nice professional one. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go through and firstly add in Elementor. So we're just going to go plugins, add plugin, and then you're going to go to Elementor, and then you'll see this one here with over 10 million downloads. So we're just going to hit install here, and then we're just going to hit activate. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to be brought through to here. So this is just our setup of Elementor. So you're just going to simply hit start setup. Now it's going to probably bring up my own account here. Yeah, so it's already brought up that one there. So you obviously will it'll prompt you to sign up. It's asking me to sign into one of my business user accounts, and then I can just go through and hit connect here. So you would just go through, you would put in your email, sign yourself up, and then just hit connect. Okay, so once you do that, then you're going to come through to this section here, and you're just going to simply click the Hello Biz Elementor, the one that it's already done by default, I believe. Oh no, so yeah, so you're just going to come through to here, and then you're just going to hit this one here. This is what I prefer to use for as a base theme for Elementor. Okay, so then all you need to do is go through and you can hit edit blank canvas in Elementor editor, or we can just simply hit skip because we don't really need to do it. And the funny thing is it takes you through. The thing is it takes you through when you hit skip anyway into Elementor. So in a moment, we're gonna go into actually walking you through how we go through and edit with Elementor. But the first thing is, while we're in here, I just want to basically explain what Elementor is. So by now, I'm willing to bet that most of you have got a bit of an understanding of seen by now, because they have very aggressive marketing campaigns. And you may have even tried them yourself, things like Squarespace, things like Wix. I'm trying to think of other ones like that. They're the main ones that are coming to my head at the moment. But essentially, Elementor is another form of a CMS, another form of a page builder. Now, I believe Elementor was actually one of the first out there in terms of, I think it might have been, around maybe before Wix and all those Squarespace and everything. Don't quote me on that, but All I know is that I've tried all of them over the years for building websites for clients, and I've built them on all those different softwares, and I've always just kept coming back to WordPress, and I've always come back to then Elementor, because it's just so much easier to build really professional websites. And you'll find this is actually what a lot of big agencies use. They use Elementor because it's user friendly, and it, you know, you can create really professional websites with ease once you know what you're doing. Now, I'm very big on transparency. I won't say that Elementor is perfect, that it doesn't have its caveats. You know, like anything out there, it has its positives and negatives. I'd say there's still more positives than there are negatives. And you know, it's the perfect inroad for most people when they're first wanting to build their website. In my opinion, it's far better than Wix, far better than Squarespace, and all those that really lock you into such basic design. And honestly, they're just, yeah, they're not what they're cracked up to be. So that's just, obviously that's my opinion, but that's what I believe. So luckily though, I'm going to be here to guide you through. So any of the little caveats that Elementor can have, you know, I'm going to here to openly express them and show you how, you know, how to get around them and things like that. So with that out of the way, let's just go through and I'm going to show you just the basic, very quickly now, the basics of, you know, Elementor. But before we do that, I want to quickly make sure that you go through and you do a few little base settings, just so that you're not, you know, it just makes things easier for you as we're moving forward. So what we want to do is firstly click this one here, and then we're going to go to site settings, because we've got this up here that looks very bad, and just, we don't want that. So what we're going to do is just going to go to layout, and then we're going to change this from default page theme. We're going to change it to Elementor canvas. Now what that means is this will be a completely blank canvas, and it won't have this, you know, that's the name of our website at the moment. Who the heck would ever want that sitting up there? I don't know, but yeah, anyway, we're just going to go through and hit save changes, and then back to editor. And now we just need to change this page's settings, because it was based off the old design, old layout as default. So we're just going to change this, but then from now on, all future ones would have the default to look like this here now. Awesome. So we just hit publish, and we've got that ready to go like that. So what we're there to do, what I want to show you now is, you know, I'm just going to quickly let you understand what Elementor, and then with some very basic overview, and then I'm going to show you how we can use free templates and access really professional, good free templates that are going to be able to help us to just build out this our website much faster and much easier. Okay, so just a basic overview now of Elementor. So on the left-hand side here, we've got our different things that we can pull and put in here. So we've got our basic things like a container, a grid, and then we've got, you know, we've got headings, images, videos, dividers. You know, they're our main ones there. So you'll notice that the rest of the things that they show here, as far as I can see, yeah, that most of them are all part of the Pro, but then they've got a few general ones here, like an accordion, image box. So we still can do a lot with the free, and I'm going to show you how you can do everything with the free. You don't need to pay for the Pro, only if you'd really want to, but you know, we don't really need to. So you see things like social media icons, testimonials section, you know, it's just really awesome what we can do, because we can just drag and drop things in. So I'm going to show you just the basics. So the first thing I want to show you is how we add a section. So let's just say we want to add a headline up here. That's obviously one of those important things you need on a website. You need to start a website with a headline, or a hero as it's called in the web design space. So we're just going to hit plus here, and then we're going to have a selection of a flex box or a grid. Now, you're going to, you know, back in the day when I first started with Elementor, there wasn't any of this. It was just, you know, create a section. So it kind of seems confusing sometimes, but what I choose most of the time is a flex box. And then you see these here. So you've got pre-built structures. So if you wanted to do, like, you know, something on the left, an image on the left, and writing on the right, you want it to have 4 different sections. You want to have something showcased in the middle with like an image in the middle and info on the side. You get the picture. There's lots of different options. But when we are doing just like a headline, all we need is a directional column like this one. So we're just going to do this here, and then we've got our section. Now we want to put in our heading. So we're going to hit plus again, and we're going to grab our heading here, and we're just going to drag it into the center, and then you're going to see it's going to place it in there. And then what you'll see now is how we edit each of these different things that we add in. So if I click the little pencil edit heading over here, it might be off the screen a little bit for you guys. It's just to do with my browser at the moment for some reason. But you got the little pencil icon, you click on there, and it's going to bring you to the section where we can edit whatever we've clicked. So we've got the heading here. So as you can see, you can type in here and you can put in your title and it's going to change it for us. Now, then if we hit style, this is where we go through and we can edit, a lot more things, like customize it. So obviously, like, you can choose all the different spots. So you would have on the left if you were going to have like maybe an image on the right. But for the majority of cases, I find it just looks the best in the center. So we just hit center like that. Now, typography, this is where we go through and we can change our font. So if we went to set on Roberto, I'm not opposed to that font. It's a pretty good looking font. I use it quite a bit, but let's just, for the sake of this video, let's just show. So Arial, just say you want to change to that, you click that, it looks pretty much the same to me, but that's how you would change that. Now you can change the weight. We could change it to bold. That's probably not going to change anything, I don't reckon, but black, there we go. So extra bold. So we can change those around, but most of the time, just leave it on. Oh, we've got normal there too. It was actually on, what was it on? I think it was on maybe semi-bold, yeah. And then you can do the transform, which is uppercase. So we can make it all uppercase. We could change the style to an italic. But I prefer when I'm doing things like that, I just double click it and then I change it from here. That's my personal preference, but just showing you the different options. And then, so you've got your title, and then if you want to make it bigger, which we would, because that's very small, we would go something like that. And then we could put a subheading under it, but I'll show you that in a moment. So we can change the color. So we just click this one and we can just go through the color wheel and pick a color that is in line with your brand. Let's just say you're going to go like a nice darkish blue, like that color there. Cool. So that's how we'd change that. And, that's the basics of really all you're going to need to know. Add a title in, add, font in like that. And then, we can edit from there. So just say I wanted to also add a subtitle under that. The quickest way is just I've hit right click on the pencil icon, hit duplicate. And now I've got a second one. And now obviously a subheading is going to be smaller. So we're just going to get typography. We're going to make it smaller. And we're going to subheading there. And then maybe, subheading, you might change the font color. So let's just say maybe we made that one black like that. So your subtitle, let's just change that. So notice you can type in here. That's where I do most of the time when I'm editing. I'll just type in here as opposed to having to go to content and write it in there, but it's completely up to you. So you're going to notice now that our thing is it's very close to the top and it looks a bit funny. So what we want to do is add in a spacer. So essentially what these do is add in invisible space in and around our text. So as you can see, it's already looking better because it's added a bit of space. You wouldn't want to just up close. It looks really unprofessional. So now we want to also make it so it's equally spaced on top and below. So all we do is just hit start to learn, right click, duplicate, and then we put it below it like that. Okay, so now look at that. That's already looking really nice. So that would be our heading like that. We could have a title like that. And then we just get this button here with our 6 dots. And this is actually now editing the container. So we're inside the container. And then we'd obviously want to make this because it looks a bit bland, just being white. So let's just hit, so I've gone to style, then I've gone to background type, then I've gone to color, then I've gone to color. And then I'm going to make this a certain color in the background. So we picked that blue before. So let's just go like this darkish blue there, like there, blue there, like that. Obviously, we're not going to keep that. Now we'll change that back to white, and we might change that to white as well. I'm just giving you guys an example. So you start to have a nicer looking heading here. Now we can also change this and put a, if we wanted to change this to an image in the background, we can do that. And I'm going to show you through soon, more into that. But that's just starting to give you a bit of an idea. So you can also add in, so what he's saying, I can quickly show while we're here. So just say you did want to add in a grid. So we've just drag and drop it in here, and it's going to add, a bit of a grid. So 6 par is probably going to be a bit of overkill for a lot of the time. So let's just say, so you've got columns, so downwards, and then you've got rows too. So let's just say I actually just wanted 1 row, and I wanted 3 sections like that. And then this is how we can make like a services section or something like that. So we could go down to our ones down here, and we could do like an image box or an icon box. I'm probably going to lean more towards an icon box. So we've got that. And then if we want to just quickly put it in each of them, instead of dragging, we just hit duplicate, like that. Okay, so now you've got, a 3-part section that we can just click on here, and we can change the heading as we please. We can change the icon. So just say, you wanted to change it to something more fitting. You could search, let's just say smile, and then we hit that, and then, you can change the icon as we please. And then we go to style, we can change the icon color. So we go to icon, and then we can change it to that blue that we've got there. So this is just a little hint of something I use a lot. Once I find a color I like, I just simply go into it, I hit copy, and then you want to keep, from a branding perspective, you only want to use up to 4 different colors, like at max. I usually use about 2 or 3, or really actually maybe 4 when you include the background. So yeah, 4, 5 max, absolute most different colors. And once you pick them, you want to make it coherent and throughout. You don't want to be having like the rainbow unless that's what you really feels on brand to have lots of different colors. But for the majority of cases, having a nice, clean brand from, some colors that you follow throughout your website is going to be the best approach. So as you can see, I just copied and pasted that, and now I can go through and change these. So I changed the icon color, then I changed the content. So I got content because the content is the actual, this part, and we change that, we hit that, we can change it. Okay, so now you'll notice that it has a bit of a hover color. So if I go to content, and then I go to hover, and I change that to the same color, because I don't really need a hover effect. I'm just going to make it the same color. And so it just stays the same. So we could do obviously you would do the same with the icon if you needed to. So you go to icon, and then you can go to hover and change it from black to whatever. But you could, if you wanted a slight color change, it'd be completely up to you. Okay, so that is starting to give you a bit of an idea of working with Elementor. Now, as you can see, while this is still amazing, it can still much easier than coding out a website and everything like that. Majority of you, pretty much all of you, are never going to want to just sit here and build out an entire website just from dragging things in and typing things in and doing all that. I don't know about you, but I've got more important things to do than, sit around doing that all day. And, when I first started, I had to build everything absolutely from scratch because all the things that exist now weren't really as available as they are now. But lucky for you guys, we live in a day and age where there's so much more available to us, and it's become easier and easier to build websites. And that's what I'm going to now show you guys how to do using Elementor templates. Because if you notice right now, and I'm going to show you guys, as you know, this is a video about doing it completely for free, so as easy as possible. because, you can go out there and pay for Elementor templates. And if you've seen my ultimate tutorial, you'll see that I go through and show you the actual method I use, which is using something called Envato elements, where they're very premium templates, and you just pay a small monthly fee to be able to access all those, and we can edit those. I can go through that. I go through that in my ultimate tutorial, but this one I wanted to make as beginner friendly as possible, and and I'll show you guys how you can do it completely for free and still get a really, really good looking website. So, and I'll just quickly show you. So just say we wanted to go in here, we hit plus, you'll notice there's this little file icon. Now, if we go in here, you'll notice that there's pages that we could add in. There's pages that we could add in. Now, Elementor is very tricky these days. They used to, back in the day, actually have quite a good number of free little templates that were actually pretty good to use as a base to build a website. But now they're really cheeky and they only give away, just some basic, like pretty much here, one wireframe for free. And their wireframe is very basic compared to, in a moment, I'm going to show you a much better wireframe I made. But it's just so basic, and all the other things you have to pay for, and to be honest, we get their pro version, and they're not very good anyway that they have available here. So then a lot of people just, they just think that they don't realize, it trips a lot of people up, and then they start to think, well, what can I do to actually build out a good looking website? And a lot of people then go to finding paid themes, and they're fantastic. However, not everyone wants to. I understand that not everyone wants to buy a template for themselves, and that's, I wanted to make this easy and beginner friendly as possible and show you guys how you can actually do it for free. And I've genuinely used this for actual paid clients myself over the years. So this is not. It's definitely still professional and still going to be perfect for a lot of you for your first business, your first online business, whatever you're building for your first website. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to exit out of here, and we're simply going to go back to the dashboard. So we're just going to hit exit to WordPress. Now it's going to say, do you want to change to save the changes here? You can if you want, so you can hit cancel and hit publish. But we're not really going to use this page. This was just basically having a bit of a fun, playing around, getting to understand it. It's up to you. But I'm just going to hit leave and go back. And then we go to WordPress. And so what we're going to do now is install another plugin. So what I want you to do now is go to add plugin. And then we're going to just type in starter template. Is it templates? Yeah, starter templates. Okay, so this is my favorite one. You can see it's got 2 million downloads, and you're going to see it actually amazes me the amount of free templates that you get with this. So what we do need to do is go here through and hit install now, and then we're just going to hit activate, and then we're going to get this here. So you're going to get two options. So you got the AI website builder or the classic starter templates. Now, I went through and tested this out for you guys just before I got on here because this didn't used to be available. And so I tested it out because I know some are going to be pulled into AI. And look, I'm not opposed to AI. I use AI every single day. It is absolutely phenomenal, especially things like ChatGPT. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can use ChatGPT to, write the copy really quickly for your website and do it well. But from my opinion, from someone with 10 years experience in web design, none of the AI website builders are very good at all. And even the ones that are a little bit higher tier, like, are starting to get kind of good. there's still so much work you need to do on them if you actually wanted to use them as a real template for your business. I don't care what their marketing teams tell you. They've still got a long way to go with actual customization. You still need to go in there and edit them all. We still need to do all that. So I'm definitely not going to be here hyping up AI website builders like some of the tutorials out there that make you think that you can make a website in 30 seconds or 5 minutes. That's never, ever going to happen. Like, I just don't care how good AI ever gets. You're going to still need to edit things. You're still going to need to refine things. There's still going to be extra settings you need to do. So please don't get led astray by those people telling you you can make a website in 30 seconds or 5 minutes. So there's just my little rant there. But anyway, what you want to do is just go through and hit exit the dashboard. Because we don't really need either of these because we're actually just going to go through and build out our website. Okay, so you're going to come back here. Now we're just going to exit that because we don't need it to be building that. We're going to exit that too because no, we don't need that. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go into building our home page. So we're going to go to pages, add page. And now what you're going to do is we're going to type in home here and we're going to hit edit with Elementor. Okay, so now we're back in Elementor now we have our own page, and notice it didn't come up with that really ugly thing on the top of our page. Now we will make sure that so our page was named home, and that's all good to go, and it now understands that. So now you're going to see we don't just have these two here, we also have this new one here, and now this is where all our pre-made templates are going to live. So we're going to go to here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to click on our start of templates here, and as you can see, we're now going to have access to all of these really clean, professional designs ready to go. Now you're going to see some of them are premium, but if you go through and hit free, then you don't get confused by, seeing any of the premium ones, and then, you can just see all the free ones on display. And honestly, it is absolutely amazing what you have here for free access to. I'm just going to briefly show you through, and then I'm going to show one that I'm going to be picking for this tutorial, and I'll explain to you why and explain to you why and walk through it. But I'll also show you just a few that I would pick personally for different niches if that's where I was going to go. So if you're looking through here, you can just see that there is a phenomenal amount of great starting places that are really professional looking for depending on what the business is that you're building. So going through here, so if I go through, we've got one here that for a bit of a portfolio for a web developer. We've got another one here for what's this guy here. So a bit of a gardening one, so more of a trade type style. We've got this one here for another portfolio one that's really good looking, and then we're going down further, and what else we've got? That one's pretty clean looking to me too, and it could be used more universally. Then what else have we got? There's a few there that really stuck out to me as well in terms of just for different niches. So that's pretty good. I'm not opposed to that one. Obviously they're all good, but it's just depending on what you're building it for. So, got a cook one here. This is a good one that could be used as a good base for a lot of things, even though it's for a pharmaceutical company type one. And then what else we got here? Yeah, so there's just so many. It's just absolutely amazing. Another garden and maintenance one there that's looking good, and we've got a lot to choose from here. But what I would pick out of these, if I was to pick a few of my favorites, I would pick this one here, the online health coach. If you're like a coach or something, it's a good base. Then if you go on the more, corporate, maybe like a personal one for more corporate that was just showing you off, you could use that. You just up, oh, there's another one here. It's really up to you. You look through and you find one. But what I recommend, what I'm going to be walking you through for this website is, and a really clean base design that we can use to build as a great starting place for any business, no matter what you're building. And by far, when I look through all these and I spent some time with them, looking through them, couldn't go past this one here. So we've got, it's just called Mountain. And as you can see, really clean looking design. We've got a breakdown of services. We've got a small little section here. We've got a bit nice call to action. We've got a bit of a gallery, and then we've got a footer. And then it's also got, for additional pages like your about, we've got those. We've got a services, and, a lot we can do with this. A FAQ at the bottom there, and this nice little breakdown of services. There's a heap we can do here, a contact page. So yeah, there's just so much we can do. And yeah, I'm going to be walking you through, because you would have seen the intro at the beginning of this video. I've actually already built you guys out a wireframe, applying all my UX knowledge and my most importantly, and also applying all of my copywriting, and structuring and UX design structure to it. And, I'm going to pull that up in a minute and show you it. But first I want to show you just, what we do to just bring this in, and then how easy it is to then go through and start editing for ourselves and everything like that. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to install this homepage. So we're just going to click that one, and then it's going to say install required plugins and imports. So we're going to hit that. And okay, so they will have been installed now. Now I'm just going to check just to make sure. So we're going to go click this one here. Okay, it has loaded. Okay, awesome. So just looking through, it all looks good to me. Awesome. So look at this, guys. As easy as that, we've now got a really nice looking base for ourselves. Now, it's already, saved us a lot of time, and it's not perfect, of course, but it is a absolutely phenomenal base for our, our very first website that we're going to be building. And it's going to give us a really good base for understanding how to use Elementor. And by the end of it, and please at least follow along with this, treat this like a little mini free course for yourself, and just follow along and build out your site. You're going to get a really nice looking one by the end of it, but you're also going to learn a very valuable skill, because I'm going to be showing you, the ins and outs of Elementor and how to use it well, so we can recreate make this into a really good design. But also, I'm also going to be teaching you the foundations of good copy and, structure to a website, because, most tutorials out there, they just show you how to quickly make a website, throw it together. But, that's just one piece of the puzzle. It's nice to be able to make a good looking website. Yeah. But you need to also, it has to actually convert. It actually has to follow principles that, of copywriting and things like that. Otherwise, it just looks pretty, looks nice, but, doesn't do much else than sit there. So you've done a good thing in clicking into this video, and, hopefully by now you're seeing the value that you're getting. If you haven't already subscribed, be sure to hit the subscribe down button below. Give this a like. It helps more people find it. And just obviously there's going to be a lot more content coming than this video here. Okay, so there's my little side note there for you. But continuing with this, so I'm going to quickly show you now the actual wireframe that I've put together for you. So this is going to be downloadable as a free, down the bottom in the description below. I've got it as a free download, completely for free. I've taken the time to actually make this structure out for you guys, and it's a perfect wireframe. It's not just the wireframe for design, but actual wireframe for copywriting. So I highly recommend you download that below. I'm actually going to be stepping you through step by step how to replicate this for yourself. I'll literally walk you through step by step. But then I'm also going to, for those who want to speed it up, I'm going to show you how you can, just use the free template and download it. And highly recommend you do that as well. So what we're going to do is, just have a look through this template now. So you see that I've built it out, this wireframe, to make it as easy and understanding as possible. So we've got up here, your name or business logo. Then we would have a menu, but at the moment, because it's a universal template, it doesn't have a menu set up. Don't worry, we're going to walk through in this tutorial how to do that. But at the moment, we've just got our clean header without a menu just yet. But then you've got your main heading, your subheading, and then a basic overview. So that's how you want to follow it for a, for the hero section. And I'll walk you through how to do that. But then keep it on going. So then we've got a section here that we're going to call, I've said, your vision or pain-based intro. You can read this in your own time. But basically what I'm saying is, it's giving you a bit of pointers for how to go about the copy. And I'm going to walk you through how to do this with ChatGPT. You can easily replicate it. But as you can see, I've just said here, this is where you speak about your customer's pain, their desire, or their current situation. You don't use a lot of, so there's copywriting principle already 101. You want to make all your copy and your website about the customer, about your client, whatever it is. You don't want to make it all about you, even if it's a portfolio website and it is about you. It's about what you can do for them. So it's really powerful. Like even when I build coaching websites or I build, websites that are about a certain person, I still don't straight away make it all about that coach. I let the person that's coming to the site feel understood, feel listened to, or see themselves in a bigger vision of where they, what your product or service or your coaching or your consulting could, do for the person. So this is here where we'd go through and we'd speak about, the pains that the person might be going through. Or so examples here, just from a website perspective, it's like tired of having a website that doesn't bring you inquiries, struggling to stand out a competitive market, local market, We can go into that in a bit more detail later. Then we have an answer section here. So this is where you're first using like the word you, and like we said, tired of these things or whatever. Then we present them with a solution, which is going to be your product, your service, whatever it is. And this is where you clearly explain what you do, how it helps, focus on outcomes on features. We build clean, easy websites where customers trust you and get in touch. And then we'd have a nice picture here. So again, we've got the pain-based or vision-based intro here that they feel connected to, and they're like, okay, that's me. This guy understands me. This product knows me. This product is what I need. Then you show how you solve that, what it is that your answer, how you're the answer, and still making it about them, not talking about really about your company and your business too much. Then we'd move into a services section. Again, this wouldn't all be here. This is just part of the framework that I wanted to, so you understand what to do for each of it. So then we'd have a services section. So imagine this isn't here. It would just say, would have your title for your service, and then you would have your 3 services down below. Okay. And then you could have more, and I'll show you can add more or less, whatever you want. But that's the service section. So this is where you list off things like, for example, website maintenance, website design, maintenance, SEO, and you would call those accordingly. And then we come down to here, and we've got a nice little window section that I like to call it. It's like, obviously we could get a lot better picture than that, but this is where we could put like some inspiring quote or something to do with just, short and sharp about your business. So, as I've got here, examples, simple websites at work, clarity over complexity, built for real businesses, not trends. So that's where we would put something like that in. And then we've got the different section, and this is where you differentiate yourself. You talk about how you're different and everything. And then you'd have your 3 different differences. And again, this is a wireframe. A wireframe means very basic. It's like the foundation for everything else. I'm not giving you a full-blown, super well-designed template. I'm giving you the skills to understand the structure, and then we're going to go through and edit it out ourselves. Okay. So we've got the different section, and then you'd finish the final one this is where you can talk about you. You don't do it until the very end. You build that trust, you've shown how you help, you make it all about them. And then contrary to what you initially people think before they understand copywriting and structure, you actually don't talk about you or your business until the very bottom of your page, because you are not the most important thing to most people's minds. The most important thing is what you can do for them. So that's why we have this at the bottom, and this is where you would go over. We'd have a picture here. You'd have, you know, a little about me, or something like a little about whatever your business name is, something like that. And then a brief overview of your business. And then you can have a call to action button here, which would just be, you know, a button to go to learn more, could be to your about section, a deeper dive about section. And then finally, we have an FAQ. This is really powerful, and I'll almost always put them on a website at the bottom, because essentially FAQ just, you know, it's a great way to answer common questions that people always have, and people always have them. And you can use, can also help with SEO, you know, because you're answering questions that people are searching. So that's a good one. And then a final call to action where we would have this is where we encourage visitors to take, and this is where you just encourage visitors to take a next step. This could be to finally, you know, click this button, and then they, you know, book a coaching call with you, book a free quote, book something, do something, or even just download something for free. And then at the very bottom, you got just your business logo. Then we would have a menu here of your pages, and then we'd have copyright, whatever the year is, and then your business name. Okay, guys, so that gives you a pretty good understanding. Hopefully understand and see the structure here. There's good amount of time has gone into it. Might look basic from a design perspective, but from a copywriting, like the actual flow and, you know, user experience and, you know, structuring, this is really powerful for you guys. So now what we're going to do is you've got two options here. So the beauty of, you know, YouTube and everything like that is in the description, you're going to have the option to see below. There's going to be chapters. So right now, if you want, and you download the free tutorial, the free template pack, you can go through and, you know, you're going to be able to skip ahead, and you can go through to, we'll arrive at having built this, and, you know, then you can go through and just follow it from there. So if you want, you can look through the chapters and you'll see the one that it is for the section of how to build out, you know, using the downloaded template, the wireframe. You can skip ahead to that. Or if you want to learn the skills of building it to this point from scratch, I'm going to walk you through that as quickly as I can now, to give you the understanding of how we do it and teach you the skills of Elementor as well. So you'll still learn more skills of Elementor as well, even if you skip ahead and you get yourself to this point by downloading the free template. But yeah, it's completely up to you. I would still recommend, regardless, you know, downloading that template, because I'm also going to have additional free things in that welcome pack, just to give you, you know, even further help with understanding WordPress, Cloudways, and everything else. So it's a no-brainer to download that, but again, it's completely optional. Okay. Okay, so now let's go through and build this out step by step, so you get an understanding of how to build out a website. Okay, so what we're going to do now is going to go back to our actual one, so where you guys are. So we've got this section here. Now, what I want to do is first replicate a larger heading, then a subheading, and then a basic overview and a nice get started button. So to replicate that, all we're going to do is click this one here. We're going to change the sizing. I'm going to change it to bigger like that. And then we're going to change this one here. And then we've got our subtext down below. So that's actually already looking pretty similar, or a basic overview. And then we've got two buttons here. So what they had there was, so I'm going to actually delete one of these buttons, and then we've got that one. And then we want to change those colors to, what color was it there? I can't log in. Oh, okay. So, and then we're going to change the colors of this. So I like that dark blue. So we've got that. We can have a button. We've got like this one here. So let's just try and replicate that. So if we got a color and we change it to a darker blue like that, and then we'll change the font color to white, And then we've got that. Now, obviously, it wouldn't have about us, so it would be very silly, copywriting now. This would just be get started or something like that. And that could link to, getting a free quote, getting, a free consultation, free call, whatever it is for you guys. Okay, so there's that section done. Okay, so the next part is we want to replicate this small section here that we're going to turn into our pane-based or vision-based section. So we initially had our section here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go through, and so what we're going to do is we're just going to hit plus, and we're going to go plus again, then flexbox, and then all you can do is just hit the down arrow one, and then you're going to drag in a heading, and we're going to center it, and we're going to change this to, don't worry, we're going to figure all this all out later, but I'm just showing you so that we drag that in there, and then this, we center that as well. Now this is then going to become our pane-based intro here, where we're going to go through and have that. Now we want this next section here, where it has the answer section with a little get started button and this here. So the way I got that was actually from mixing and matching portions. So what I mean by that is we're going to go hit plus, and then we're going to go through starter templates, and then we're going to go through to this one, and then we're going to find it here, how it was made. So if I look through here, see these, some of these sections. Nah, I think it might have been just one of those. I'm looking at it now. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Unless, let's just go to what was in contact. Nah. So we had, yeah, so it was this section here. So we're going to just take these services like this, and we're just going to make it into one like that. So what I mean is just hit import template. And then once that's loaded, you're going to see it's added the whole page. Now, we don't want the whole page. We just want to use this to be able to mix and match sections. So this is what I do all the time when I'm building out websites for clients. I'll just mix and match from a template kit, different pages. So we're going to delete this one because we don't need that. And then it's got multiple ones. You could definitely keep them, but for the sake of recreating this, I'm showing you guys. So then we've got that up there. Now we've got that section built, which is our answer section. So let's just change that to answer section, and then we have a short description, and then we'll go through and we'll change this just for now. I'm going to change it to get started as well, because I don't think it's very smart to have that as a contact page link there. It would be silly. So there's that. So we've already replicated that, and then let's move down further. We've got our services section. So you'll see, let's delete that FAQ for now. Now you'll see the services, and the only difference is I have a heading above it. Now, so all we do is just hit plus, this one, then we go plus here, and we drag another heading in, and then we put it to center, then we put it to center if it actually wants to comply, and then we just change this to services, and then let's make it a bit bigger, and let's change the font color to a bit of a darker blue. Looks a bit neater. Then we've got our service. Now we need to replicate and make the services look like this. Now you could have images behind there because it looks quite good, but the only issue with that is you then have to go find for yourself 3 different images that are fitting for your business. Now you might have those, and that's perfectly fine, but I wanted to make this as beginner friendly and accessible as possible. So I'm going to show you an easy, what I usually would do for that. So if you just go through to here, click this one, and then style, and then delete that. And then the same for this one, style, delete the image, style, and then delete the image again. And then you've got those 3 there like that. Now what we want to do is change the background color. Let's make it a darkish blue. It looks good like that. and then we're just going to hit text editor and drag it below it. Give it a lettuce, I don't know what it's doing there, and then it'll go like that. And then we just change that to white, like that. So then there's our 3 services. Now the easiest way, if you don't want to have to waste time rebuilding that, is just hit duplicate like that, and then again like that, and then we just need to delete these 2 here, and then we've got our 3 services like that. Okay, so there's our service section recreated, and then now let's recreate this nice quote section thing like here. So that was from, let's have a look. If we go through, hit plus again, this one, and then go back to it again, let's see where that would have come from. Is it here? What do we pull it from? I think it might have just been a service section there like that I did. Yeah, it was. So it doesn't matter which one I put in. Let's just say we're going to put in the about one. I'm going to put that in and hit insert. So cool. So that's how we rebuild that one. So we're just going to go here. And we're going to delete all these ones for now. And then we're going to change this. So just want to center it a bit more. So go to advanced, change this one here of padding to just both 100, so it's even. And then this is just where you type your quote in here. And obviously I'm going to show you guys through how you can edit this and put your own image behind it through here. But for now, we're just replicating this here. Okay, so the next thing is the different section here. So this is your differentiating what makes you different. So this is another really easy one to replicate. So all you need to do is just hit plus. This is when you get first experience of building your own section on your own. So you're just going to plus, 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 there's 1. Then we're going to put in the heading, drag that in there, and we're going to center it. Cool. And then we're going to hit plus again, plus, and then we're going to do this one here. Where's our free one? Okay, and then we're just going to hit plus here, and plus again, and then you're going to go grid, and then you're just going to go 3-part grid like that. So there's that. And then to replicate the different section, all we do is hit plus, and then we just type in an icon box like that, drag it in there, and then duplicate, 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 and then we've got our different section there, and we would have a small little, you wouldn't want to write a lot here, just a small thing about what makes you different, and then your heading here, and then your 3 services there, and then our final little about us down the bottom here. Now we could have that's moved on us, so I actually might keep it there, to be honest, because then it has that nice little break between the services before then having your about. So there, here we're just going to have our last little about section here. So we're just going to go back to here, and we're going to go to here again, and we're going to find our nice little about us like that, which is from our about anyway. And then we're going to delete that one, and we're going to keep that there, and then we're going to delete this, and that's a doubled up, and then we're just going to delete that one. And cool, so now we've got our about section in there. I don't know what this has done here. It's changes orientation. There, back to center. Okay, so that's what we put in. Now we want a little bit of an image here, because there's a picture of you or your business or something like that. So we just have an image there like that. Now we probably would want a bit of advanced here, some padding. So we're just going to put like 25. It's a bit much. 85, 10. Yeah, it's probably pretty good. Let's just check when we go to do all of that. Yeah, that's not too bad. Okay, so there's the about section, and then we've got the FAQ is the last one. So on in there. Okay, and then the about section. So okay, and then so then the FAQ. So we just go plus again here, and we find our FAQ page. It was in there. Where was the FAQ? It was on our about. No, it wasn't. Where are our services? Yeah, so it was on this one. So we're just going to hit import template. And again, any that we don't need, we go through and delete it. We're going to keep that FAQ there like that. So we've got that one. And we'll go through and change the color soon. But we've got that. Then we're going to go down to the call to action section. And we can change that because I'm not a fan of that picture obviously at all. But also, you know, you can have an image there, but most of the time it's going to look a bit not that neat. So I just delete it and then I change it to a color. And then again, I've chosen dark blue for this one. Let's go like that there. And then obviously contact again is a bit silly having there. So there's just your CTA. So there's your call to action there. That's what CTA stands for. Okay, cool. So there now is our pretty much replicated. We just need to now make our footer and our header here. Now, you normally need Pro to be able to build headers and footers, but if you know what you're doing, you can do it for free. So I'm just going to quickly show you how you can easily build your own. So you replicate this one here. It's just a 3-portion one. So all we're going to do is give plus, and then you hit flexbox. Sorry, not flexbox. Then you hit grid, then you go 3 here, like that. And then you're just going to put 1 in here as the title, which is name, business, logo, and make it a little bit smaller. So what it means by logo is, so if you want to do instead of put in an image, so you've made a logo up, you would just hit image here, you drag it in. We'd have to delete that, but you put the image there, and then it would become your logo, if depending on the size that it is. But I just say for most people, it's perfectly fine just to have it listed like that, as long as it's in a nice font or color that blends with the website. Like that blue there is obviously so not too good looking. We'd want that color. I'd prefer for that. And then here we're going to put a menu in. So let's just make sure. So yeah, nav menu. So we'll just put this one in here. So normally again, nav menus are paid, but as part of this that we've downloaded, it installs this free nav menu that you can do. So you just put that there, and then we'll set that up soon. So don't worry about that just yet. And then here on the right, what do we have? A copyright here. So we just want a small text. So we just get like a text editor like that. And then can't be bothered writing it right now. So we're just going to copy and paste it. So, and then we've got that. So there's our footer, replicated, nice basic one. And then we're going to go up to the header now and create that. So just same process. We're going to just do, I actually might do it as, what did I do here? Visit the 2. So I'm just going to go to flexbox structure this time, and then notice this one, we've got across the left and then a bigger right. So this is obviously then where you just put in your business name or your name or a logo picture. But again, for a lot of you don't have a logo yet, so it's going to be easy just to put your name in. Don't overthink this part too much. And then you're going to put here, you put the menu in again, which will all make sense soon. So all you do is just drag that in there and then you've got that. Okay, so as you can see, we've gone through and pretty much replicated it that we've got here. Obviously, it is all the same. It's just the only few things is color-wise we haven't done yet, which you guys understand. And if we just click this one, we can just change the color to whatever we chose. And we can pick that. We can go through and redo it all and change it. So okay, so if you've skipped ahead to this section or you've arrived at this section just by watching it, we're now up to how we can install the template ourselves to replicate, to just drag it in, and we're all both going to arrive at the same point, whether you arrived here organically by following it or you've just skipped ahead here and you've downloaded the free template. You're still going to get learning a skill whichever side of the fence you're on, because you're going to learn now how to import a template that's been pre-built out or one that you've done yourself, whatever. So we're going to hit here, we're going to hit plus, then we're going to go to templates here. Then you hit upload, then you hit select file. So you're going to select the file that you got from the download file and you're going to upload that. It's going to have a .json name here, but at the moment it's just called this one like this. So we're going to put that in and hit continue, and then here, and then enable and import. And then it's going to bring our wireframe template in. So that's what it's called once it's in. And then you can hit insert. Awesome. Now we've got our wireframe added in. Now it hasn't dragged in our images, but that's perfectly fine because they're just placeholder ones anyway, and we don't really need them. And we're going to be going through now and making our own. So that's how you easily install the pre-made template. And for future reference, this is how you can save out sections and install new ones, things like that. Probably a little bit more advanced, so you probably don't need to know, but at least now we're all at the exact same spots. Okay, so now what we're going to go through and do is, if you notice, is the only one slight difference is it's actually different colorings here. So it's got that really bad looking light blue compared to a better looking dark blue like that. Now you could individually go through and change each one to the darker blue. So click it like that, and then you could pick the darker blue like that. But what this is a good teaching point for you guys is, if you ever want to change all the headings without having to actually manually go through and change one at a time, this is how you change the global settings. So first, after we've imported the template, or you've got up to this point, remembering for you guys, if you've gone organically, you're going to be seeing an image behind there like that. This is just the part now where we've got up to where if you've imported it. So we're just going to hit publish here and make sure that we publish our site, lose any changes we've made. And now let's just go through and we're going to, for this one here, we're going to make it that one color. So we're going to grab this one, copy that, and then what you want to do is go back to, you want to go to the settings here, and you want to go to site settings, and then you're going to see here global colors, and then you're going to see it's got that really ugly blue there. So you're just going to change that to the one you just copied, or whatever color you want, and then all we need to do is hit save changes. And then we go back to our actual editor, and then you'll notice, okay, so once you've done that, you'll notice that it's easily gone through now and changed all our colorings to the same as our section, our one over here. Okay, so that's an easy way to change coloring and everything. Okay, now what we want to do is go through and edit this out one by one. So first thing I'm going to show you is how we can add a image to the background of this. Okay, so because right now, if I go to here, okay, so you're going to be coming through this section here. Now you'll see some are already preloaded because they came with the template that you downloaded. So if you selected a media library, you can select that one and you can make that the background there like that, which looks pretty good, to be honest. But again, we're not building a website about mountains. I'm just giving you an example. So now, before we go into actually, doing all the copy, I'll show you how you can add your own images in, and where I recommend going to finding free copyright-free images. So one of the best out there is Unsplash images, really professional images. They got some great stuff here. So let's just say you're doing a web design one, or something like that, or you just wanted a person, or it's a fitness-based thing or something. I don't know. I'm just thinking. So just type in fitness. Just give an example and see. That one there. Maybe you wanted that as a background. It's not that ideal, but I'm just quickly showing you. So you'd hit save. You'd hit download on this, and then you just go to the medium because we don't want a big giant one. And then we just hit that, save, and then we pull it, copy that, put that, upload here, and then just drag it in. Now, a good rule of thumb, notice it's 240 kilobytes. You don't want to go over 1,000 kilobytes or 1 megabyte for an image because it'll start to slow down your website. We could go in other tutorials about how to, optimize for that. But for this sake, just when you download an image from these, just go to like medium quality or size, and you usually will be under that. So just hit select, and then you'll see now we've got, a background like that. Okay. So, that's how we can change that. Now, for me, it's like web design. So let's just quickly see what comes up if I type that in. So I'll just make it up. This is a web design website. So let's just say, I wouldn't pick any of these images, to be honest, but I'm just giving you an idea. So that's not too bad for maybe a web design agency. So it's not too bad. This one here, actually, that's cool, but I just wouldn't use an image that bright. So I just hit here, medium, and then download that, 294, still pretty good. So I'm going to change that image, and then I'm just going to drag that in there, and then we're going to place that as a background. Cool. So that's looking cool. Cool. So now this is a bit of a teachable moment here. So you have two options when you've got backgrounds that are really bright. You can change the font color. So you could change this to black or like a darkish blue. But even then, it's blending in a bit. So what I'd recommend is actually clicking this one. And then you actually go down to, background overlay. And this is where we can add an overlay over the top of this. Now, it's set on gradient, but I'm just going to go the classic one here of one color. And then we're just going to pick black, or we could pick red, or we could pick a bluish color, which actually that looks pretty good like that. And then you can change the opacity, so how dense it is over the top of it. So I'm probably going to pick something like that. I actually might go gradient just to show you what's possible. Let's pick a similar blue, like something like that. Radial linear. And look at that. That's already looking very good. Now, you wouldn't have two different colored ones like that for this one. You would have it like that. You could maybe have the subheading that same blue as that one. So click that, copy, grab that, color. Yeah, no, that's not gonna work, is it? So we'll probably just leave it like that, because remember, I'm building this in live time with you guys, so I'm just going on. What I'd actually would add to there is a text shadow, so just click that. So notice it makes the text pop a bit more. So again, I'm just going to click that, and then I hit same one again, add a shadow. Why isn't adding a shadow for this one? Info card. Okay, so so that was not the same as this one we built out here. I'm just going to actually quick little way to show you. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to duplicate this. And I'm going to make this smaller. And then we're just going to put text editor below it. Just now it's going to make it easier for us to edit. Style, white. And then we're going to center that as well. And obviously you wouldn't have too much written here, but you would have a little bit. Okay, so there is now our hero section done. So that's looking really good. Here you can pause the video here as you need to, find the images that you need, put it in the background, and then, you know, get yourself ready to go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, now we've got the hero section here, you're understanding how to do that. Now the most important thing to do is go through and actually do our copy for our website. Now you're probably sitting there thinking, okay, I got the structure, I'm starting to understand how to edit things, you know, you're starting to understand how to put pictures in and things like that. You're starting to get a good understanding of Elementor, but you're sitting there thinking, I have no idea how to fill all this out. I just don't understand how to do that. I'm not a copywriter. You know, Isaac's giving me some good points here and everything, pointers. But you want to know how to actually, fill these out. So this is where we use ChatGPT. Now, this is a method that I use personally myself for quickly designing the copy for a website. Obviously, because I have a copywriting background, I refine it through and everything like that. And I'm going to be able to briefly show you how to pick better copy and things like that. But I'm just going to show you, how easy this is and how phenomenal it is once you know how to use ChatGPT well for these sorts of things. We're going to be using what I call the screenshot method. A lot of people use ChatGPT very basically. They don't understand, you can give it very complex prompts or question or ask it to do more complex things than most people expect that you can do. So what we're going to do now is, with our website that we've built, or got ourselves to this section, this stage here, what I want to do now is go through and we're actually going to open up ChatGPT. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to open up ChatGPT. So all of you have probably used ChatGPT at least once by now. If you haven't, this is going to be taking you to a whole nother world with this level of using ChatGPT. But it's going to be a very valuable skill to learn and hopefully teach you how to think outside the box with using ChatGPT, in far more powerful ways than just your basic asking it a few questions, getting it to write a few emails or whatever for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our website that we started to put together, and we're going to hit print screen, and we're going to go through and we're going to take a photo of the first section of our website, go back to ChatGPT, we'll create Control-V, and then we're going to go and do each section of our website. So we're going to do pane-based section here, and copy that, put that there, and then get this here, get that, put that one in, and then our services section. So we're going to copy that, put that in there. Okay, and then our quote section here. Now we actually don't have an image there, so just quickly I'm going to add one, just so it's easier for screenshotting. So just put that one there. Is that going to be? That's not going to work, is it, for a screenshotting? None of this matters right now. I'm just giving you so you guys can, so that AI can see what's written here and that. So we're just going to go through and put that one there. And then what else we need? The different section. Put that one there. And then an about section. there. I'm going to go back to ChatGPT, Control V there. And then FAQ. And then finally a call to action. Call to action section. Copy that. Put that there. Okay. So now, because this is happening live, this is going to be me thinking, writing it out live, but I will have a prompt ready to download in the free pack if you want to download that, or you can use a similar structure that I'm doing live here now. So I'm just going to be thinking out loud with this. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to now get it to understand that this is our website that we put together so far, and it needs to write the copy for the structure. Okay, so I'm going to write something like this. Okay, so write something like this. So I've said, please take these images and use it as a structure to write the copy for my homepage for my web design business called Pristine Websites. I just made that up then. And then please include the titles of each section and what they were changed to so that we know what we're looking at. And then I need both the heading and descriptions as necessary. Yeah, cool. Okay, so all we need to do now is we're going to go through and hit this one here. Okay, so now it's done that. It's gone through, it's analyzed our website, and then it's gone through and, helped us to now write the entire copy based off the template structure that I built out for you guys. Okay, so now, as you can see, it shows what the original one was, and then it shows what we want to update it to. So we've got that, and then we've got the subheading. Awesome. So we've got all that. Then vision, pain-based thing. What's it got? Your website should be make things easier, not more frustrating. This is exactly what I've been saying we wanted it to do. So it's spoken to the, the pains that the person has and the answer, and how Pristine helps. Simple websites on support real business. We've got that. So now, guys, look what we're doing. We're filling out all this, following the structure that I built out for you guys. So the pain, and then the answer section, and now it's all written out for me, and I'll show you how we can easily copy and paste it all. And we've got the services, custom website design. It's gone through and it's done that for us. It's done the different section. It's written a small little subheading. It's, and then it's got, each of the differences, different section, update to why I choose Pristine Websites. Okay, so we've got that. Okay, so then it's got, why I choose Pristine Websites. You've got the 3 differences. Honestly, as you can see, it's just amazing. And then you've got the about section, and then you've got, straightforward approach here to web design. And then you've got a small little part down here, which is awesome. And then you've got FAQ section with already pre-made, done up FAQs, and then a final call to action down the bottom there, which they've got as well. Now, the only thing I think it did actually forget was a quote section. That's okay. We can chat to it and get its help with that when we get to it. But I might not even take an image of it or something. I don't know. But no, I did. But other than that, it has done an absolutely phenomenal job that has saved you so much time. And I'm going to quickly, not going to copy and paste everything live with you because you guys are going to get bored of doing that. But I will show you the first ones, and then I'll go through and do it on my own, and we'll speed up. All arrive at the same point. But let's first go through and how we can go and do our heading now. So we're going to go through here, and we're going to change this to what it suggested, which is awesome. Cool. So you've got this one here, and we're going to change that to websites that actually work. We're going to change that. So I might actually make that slightly bigger. And then we're going to change this to what it had here. Okay, and then we've got our sub one here. So text under here. Now, it did get some of these mixed up a little bit in terms of what it's called them, but that was probably a little bit of my fault because before they were called like main heading, and then that under there. So they might have got a little bit confused, but honestly, it's still absolutely incredible. So it's gone here, gone here, we put that one there. So that's looking really good now. Okay, so we've got all those put in there like that. Now you're free to delete these as you see fit if you don't want 3 different ones on here. It's completely up to you. You could delete this one and then just have the one heading, but I like that. But I kind of like having that like that. Maybe that heading's a little bit long. We'd probably try and refine it. You could chat to ChatGPT about that. But for the sake of this video, I'm just showing you through how we do it. So then let's put in this one here. It's our pane-based thing. So we had so let's say your website should make things not be more frustrating. So I'm probably going to go with that one. Go to content here. And then we're going to take the copy, get that, and take this one, put it in there like that. Now we want to make this bigger. Look at that. And then we want to change this to bigger as well. I'm going to change that to fully black. I'll change the font of this to 20. I don't like that font that it is. Let's try like Inter. Looks a bit neater like that. Okay, so what font do we have for this one? Why don't we make that just to show you guys Poppins? I might make that Poppins. Let's settle it. Yeah, look at that. That's a nice looking font. So I might just change that to Poppins as well. Okay, so that's a much better looking font. So just go topography, Poppins. See, I'm really building this live with you, thinking things through. What does Poppins look like as a font? For here, just text-based stuff. Not too bad. So yeah, I can change this one here to Poppins as well. Cool, so it's looking good. Now you can go through and change your font as you please in your, in here, but that's starting to come together. Now, if we come down further, we've got a next section here, so the answer section. So we click here, go to answer, and then we take this one, and we change this to the title. Simple websites. Cool. And then we take what it had in the copy. Copy that, put this in here. Awesome. Now, sometimes it does do this silliness like this. So I'm actually going to put it back in again. Yeah, cool. Okay, so put that in there. And then we're going to go through and add, we might as well do one page at a time. Okay, so we've added that in there. So I'll just show you one more because you get the picture now. And you got your services, and let's say it's got what we can help with. So you could change this to that. And then we're just going to take this one here. So we can delete that because we don't need it. That was just a little placeholder, what we can help with. Now we'll make that bigger. Change it to Poppins. I'm not going to talk you through every single one, but we're showing you that there. And then I'll show you one service, what we do. So we just go copy here, custom web design, copy that. that in there. Copy this one. Put that in there, and that'll probably center that like that. And then we just go through and do that for each of our services like that. Okay. So you are starting to get the answer, get the picture. But let's just quickly show you how we can come up with a quote. So we just need to quickly just say to it, now I need a basic short one-liner or quote. Okay. One-liner or quote. One-liner that would work well for this business. So I'm just going to go with that. Professional websites made simple. I'm going to change that to here like that. Delete this one. And then we've got a nice quote one there. Change the background to, we'd pick, and obviously you want to pick a different image here. But for the sake of the time of the video, we're just going to show you quickly. So you change it back and overlay, you understand that now. Change this to dark like that. We could turn it up a little bit. And then got that done. Okay, I'll show you one last section, which is our different section, just so you understand how to edit icons and things like that. So what we're going to do is go back to our different section up here. So we go back up and we find the section on our difference. Sorry. And we go through our difference. So clear communication. So watch. So firstly, actually, we'll go to the heading. So why choose pristine websites? Put that in there. Make it a bit bigger. Change to Poppins. And then we're just going to put in, I'll show you how to do one, and then you guys can figure out, you'll understand how to do the other three. So click this, communication, clear communication. Why did it not do the one it did? And then copy this one, paste that in there. Cool, so we've got that. Now we just need to change the icon. Okay, so to change this, we can just pick an icon that we want, whatever's representing. I'm going to put this one, a bullhorn. And then that's how you can easily change those. And then look at that, already coming together. That's how you can change those easily. And so you've got the three different sections, three ones like that. Now you just go through and edit them, copy and paste, and then edit the icon as you please. Now we picked these colors, and you're welcome to change them if you want. Remembering you go style, color, change it to whatever you want. Whatever you thought was good, then you'd obviously change that as well. Primary color. Why didn't I change it? Primary color. We could change this around, but I'm happy with the colors that we have. Okay. So then you got the about your business section. So you got the about the business section here. So this is where you just go through and put in about you, a straightforward approach to web design. So you just copy that, put that in there. Then we put an image in below it. If you don't already have one, we put a little bit of padding around this, maybe even a margin. Let's just see. Padding like that, and then put in the images soon. So there's that done. And then our FAQ, I'll just quickly show you one of them, not all of them. So frequently asked questions. Copy that. Nah, let's just keep it as FAQ, William. We don't need to change that. So how long to build a website? Just show you one, how to change it to this one here. So click it, click the FAQ, put that in there, and then we just copy this, and in the part below it, we put it in there. Okay, so the only thing I will change is that is disgusting, that hover open color. So we're just going to go to style and then title, and then we're going to change the active color to darkish blue, like that. And now it just means it won't be that ugly fell green color. I don't know who would ever want that, but anyway. And then go to content. If we just want to make the font a little bit bigger, so we go here and go to, let's go to like 20. Maybe even 22, 25. Okay, so just go to there. Now you can play around with that and make that whatever size you want. You go much bigger. Actually, not bad, being like 28, like that. And obviously, now you can play around with the sizing of the of things like this and everything. And obviously, you would get rid of this section here. You wouldn't keep that. So you would delete this, clean up a bit. Delete that because it's not needed. And there you go. There's your FAQ. And then your call to action section. What did it put for us for that? Yeah, awesome. This here. And copy the body. We can change the title size, make it a bit bigger, and change it off italic. I don't really want it on italic. And then we change our button. What did it recommend to the button? Get in touch. And there we go. Okay, so that is now the main, okay, so that is now the copy of the website done. So the next thing that we need to do is our footer and our header. So we just need to change so you just put in whatever your business name is here. So I would put in the one that I made up for this. So put that in there. Now, a lot of people waste a lot of time on trying to overdo like a logo, or they, spend a lot of money on getting someone to do a logo, or, lots of hours trying to make a perfect one. But from my opinion, when you're first starting, like putting your website together for your business, the easiest thing to do is honestly just to have a text-based logo in your header and your footer, and that's just what I'm going to show you through here. And it's just really simple. So you just simply put in whatever your business name is there, and then we can change the font size just so it fits it a bit better. We might change the yeah, cool. So we pick that font size there. Now we might change that to Poppins, like that, just so it fits the rest of that. Actually, I didn't mind Roberto like that, just for that one, so it looks a bit different. And then we'll just go down. I'm just going to copy and paste that, and then go down to the bottom here, and we just put it in there. Same thing again. And we might make that a little bit bigger. Let's go like 25. Cool. And then we would just put in our year. So we'd put in here whatever the year is, so 2026. And then business name is pristine websites. Okay, cool. So I might just put a little dot in there, and that is now our copy done. Now we could do some further refinements just to, you know, make it look that tiny bit more presentable. So we can go through here and let's just say we want to change that button color. So what button color do we have here? We had that there, copy that, and then click the button here and go to that one. And then we could probably make it a little bit bigger. So if you want to make that, so you can just expand that there like that. Awesome. So that's looking better like that. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is create our menu section. So as you see now, it's just a placeholder. There's nothing there, because what we need to do is actually go through and create our menu. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to go back to WordPress dashboard. So I'm going to show you something that I recommend doing here. So instead of clicking on that right away, right click on it and then go to open new tab. So we can keep this open. And then back here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go through to pages. We're going to create an about page and a contact page. I'm just briefly going to show you how we can do that. So we're going to call this one about. And then we're going to go through and we're going to create very quickly a basic about. So the easiest way to do that is to pick the design we've already got, and we're just going to hit about and then hit import template. And then you can go through and you would obviously edit it around. So I would put something like this, more fitting for the business. And then I'd put a, over the top, you know, put the background overlay, turn that on, change this so it's a bit more even. So there, look at that, we've already got the cool, good looking about. And then you would go through and edit this as you please about your website, okay? So there's an about page like that, really quickly done. Obviously you need to spend some time to edit it out, but you guys are starting to understand how to do that now. So I'm not gonna go through that. So what we do is just hit publish. So there's our about page. Okay, so once we've done that, now what we want to do is go back again, exit to WordPress. And we just want to create one more page. So we're going to go add page. We're going to call this contact. And then we're going to go edit with Elementor. And then we're going to click this one. Okay, and then we're just going to have a contact page. And you understand how to do it now. So you would just simply go through here, hit this, and then just go import template. And we can import the template and edit it around. So I won't show you that because I just want to show you quickly how we can go through and create, you know, the links to the pages and just a basic overview of the page. So just hit publish. So that's our contact page there. And then we just go back here and then exit to WordPress. And then what we want to do now is go to appearance menus. And then we've got the different pages here. So we're going to firstly call it main menu, hit create menu. And then on the left here, you can see contact and about. We're just going to hit save to menu. And then we've got that add to menu, sorry. And then we've got that contact and about, hit save menu. Now I'd probably change those order. So about there, then contact, save menu. Now, if we go back to here and hit refresh, we've got an about and a contact page. And now if I hit publish, and I go to preview and I have a look, when I click about, we go to our brand new about page that we've made for ourselves, which is awesome. And same with the contact, but we haven't actually built that one out, but you guys understand and get the picture of how to do that. Okay, so there is our menu done. So we'll just make sure that we go down to the bottom here and we change this one here. So we want to edit this one as well. So for this one, we would make it the center. So we're going to click this one here and go align center. So align item center, and then we'll make it bigger, style, typography, and the size. That there. Okay, and then we just want to change the colors. Okay, then we just change the colors. So we click this one and we'll go with this one here that we had at the top, had here. So style, copy that. So if we change this one here, now let's have a look. Now it is a stacking one, so we need to change that actually to layout. Why is it doing that? Okay, so I'm not sure why it is doing this for me here, why I can't get it to, and this here is a perfect example of sometimes when I said to you that Elementor is amazing, but it is not perfect. Sometimes it has these little quirks. I mean, whenever I build a website, there's always some kind of little thing that can pop up like this, but it's not necessary that we really need these at the bottom anyway. So I'm just going to make an executive decision because I've sat here trying to figure out why it's not expanding out like it should be, horizontal. So they're beside each other and not stacked. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make the executive decision and I'm just going to totally delete this and then just have our name and then copyright on the side there. We don't really need additional things there really anyway. So so that's that, the footer done. Now we go back up to the top here and we just want to fix our menu, make sure that's good. Now sometimes if you make the topography too large, so if I go too big like this, they'll actually stack on top of each other. So you want to find a point where they are, stay there like that, and that's probably the good size there. And then notice here though, when we go to view the website, it actually is, this here is off center a bit, which doesn't look too ideal. So an easy fix for that is just to change around the margins around here. So I've just clicked on here and then I've gone to advanced and I've clicked margin. I'm just going to put 5 in there and that should line it up. So look at that, way better now. So there's that one done. So that's our menu, all ready to go. We've created our pages. Now I'm just going to hit publish. Okay, so that is now our website done. So I had a bit of a play around with it outside of my recording of this tutorial just to get everything together. But as you can see, we've come together and created a very, very professional looking website in really record time. Now I'll have this fully built out template to download as well in the free pack in the description. So if you want to, speed things up further, and then you obviously just need to go through and edit a few things around, more than welcome to download that. It'll be completely free down as part of the pack. But as you can see, we have got a very, very clean looking website now that we made in a very short amount of time. I will show you just while I'm here, just for those while you're building out your about, I did add in like a little spacer here, just so that when I added the image and I put everything in, everything was even. Because if I delete this, you'll notice it's way up there, which is, it's okay, but it looks to me a little bit funny. So that's why I added that in there. so that it's nice and even like that. So, but as you can see, that is now done deal for the website. We might be able to put one last thing here is I might put that spacer slightly bigger like that. Let's have a look at that. Bit too big. Maybe a tiny bit more. Okay, so the last thing I'll show you is just how we can link certain things. So just say you wanted to make this get in touch to go to, your booking link to get a quote from you for your business, or to book a call with you, or whatever's appropriate for your business. You're just going to click this here, and then where it says link, you'll just copy and paste whatever your booking form is or whatever, or you can copy and paste a link to one of your pages and just put it in there. So the best way to do that is just to go through, get the page URL, so just from up here, and then just paste it in there. And that would be, then you can easily just have it navigate to whatever you want buttons to go to. So this one is a get in touch. So again, that's more of a booking intent, booking something. And then a full about, we could have that. And then this one here, which is a full about, we could have that link to like a more detailed about you or about your business. So then if I click on the about page, I would then go through and copy the link of my URL. And obviously right now, because we haven't actually gone through and purchased and set up our own domain name, you might already have one set up. But if you don't, and you followed this from the beginning, I won't be actually going into in this tutorial. This is more based on design. But if you want to go through actually understanding how to make your own domain, just check for more videos on my channel, or because I'll have a dedicated one on there. Or you can also go to my ultimate tutorial, which is a lot more in depth, but I will try to make that as detailed as possible. And then you can just go through the chapters, and you'll see the section on how I show how to set up your own domain name for your website. But principle is still the same. You would just copy that, your actual domain name, and then you would just go back to there, and then you go to full for the content here, and then the link, and then you copy and paste that in there, and then hit publish. And so now if people go to the button, what will happen is they click that, and it'll take them to your about page. Okay.
Okay, and so just two little final things, finishing touches that often get overlooked in tutorials, and I didn't want to leave this tutorial without showing you it, and that is just simply, so if we go to and have a look at our preview now, we go to our website as it's looking, and now, so if we go to our about page that we made, you'll notice that we don't actually have on our home here, so we've got our our header up here, but on our about page, we don't actually have a header, and we also don't have a footer. Now, if you got the pro version, you can set, permanent headers and footers, but when you're using the free version, that's not possible. But there's a workaround that's very simple and easy. So once you know this is going to be a good little skill to have for, you'll understand that you can then do this for other sections of the website. So all we want to do is on our home page, we simply just want to click these 6 dots here like that. And then we want to right click on it. We want to click save as template. And then we're just going to give it a name. And so we're just going to simply call this header. As simple as that. And then just hit save. And then we're going to go down to the bottom of our page. And yes, it is cut off on my screen at the moment. But if I go to probably it's fine. And then now if we come down to the bottom, scroll down. And now if we scroll down to the bottom, we've also got our footer here. Do the same thing. So we're just going to click right click, save as template, and we're just going to call this footer, and hit save.
And then you're just going to go back to your about page and you're going to edit with Elementor, or if you don't already have it open as an editing. And then what you're going to do here is you're just going to go through and hit plus, and then you're going to go to this one here, the folder, and then you go to templates, and you'll see them. They'll be in there now for you. Sometimes that can happen, so you just hit reload. And then we're going to put our header in, so we're just going to select this one and hit insert, apply. And then look at that. We've got our header now like that on our about page. Then we're just going to scroll down to the bottom. I'm going to do the same thing here. And just click footer, insert, apply. And then we're just going to hit publish. And now that page has a header and a header up here, which looks good. And then we can go through. And our footer's down there as well, but it's covered over at the moment of it. Okay, and then we've got our footer. Okay, and then we've got our footer down the bottom like that, looking really good. Now, one last little, extra thing you can do is we'll actually go through, and so on our about page, we can make this so that it goes back to our home page. So this would be actually copying your URL. Remember, I don't have a proper one in here yet. It's just the temporary one that we build out our website, but it's still the same principle. So copy this URL. So notice I'm not taking it with everything else because we don't want that. We want the up until .com at the end, or whatever yours is. And then put this in here, hit paste. There we go. Did it this time. And then hit publish. And now if we go back to the about page, it means if people hit this, it'll take us back to our home. Oh, it didn't. So that's a good reminder to me to finish off the final thing, which I was already planning to show you, but I almost even forgot myself. And this is a huge one. So you would think you click back to your homepage and you're going to think your website's broken. What is all this? I remember the first time I built one and that's what happened to me. But all it means is we haven't set, it doesn't know what our official homepage is. So it's just putting a blank post there. So what we need to do to make this work is simply go back to dashboard. And then we go to settings, and then we go to reading, and then we go to static home page, and we choose a page. Now, hopefully you followed along and you called it home like I did. So it's easy to spot which one was the home main page. And then we just call that, we just do that, hit save changes. And now when we go to our main site, it is now our home page, which means when I go to about like this, and I click through here, it now goes back to our home page. Awesome. Okay. And then one last final thing we'll do now is just very quickly, you will have maybe noticed these up the top here. So you got desktop, you've got portrait, tablet portrait, and mobile. Now, I'm not going to go deep into all three, but these designs are already made to transfer themselves across well to each of the different breakpoints. So meaning that they'll adapt themselves to each size, but sometimes you're going to need to do just a little bit of editing. So I'll just quickly show you so you understand. So this one doesn't need a lot because we built it well. So it's already pretty close to done. So everything's good like that, but there might be a few things. So this we'd probably center, and this is only affecting the breakpoint of the mobile. So I've done that. That's good. I'm happy with that. That looks good when we open that. So that's what it looked like on mobile. So in this one, this is what it looked like on mobile, just a tiny bit too big. So we'll make it smaller like that. And then I'd probably make this one smaller too now, like that. And then we finish off that. That can be, I'll leave that because they don't want it too small, they can't read it. That's all centered, that's good. I'd probably center that. Like that. And then I'm happy with that. That button could be centered. Like that. And that's all good, that's all good. This one here could be centered. Oh, it is kind of. Yeah. What's it doing with that one? I think it's just the line self-center layout. So sometimes it's a bit of playing around. And then probably a tiny bit smaller. There we go. I'm just going to do that. There we go. And that's centered it a lot better. Maybe a tiny bit smaller again. There we go. So ideally, we would want it to be aligning itself to center and everything looks neat like that. And then we could probably make this more even. So we just link those back together like that. Although, what's it going to do on here? Let's just quickly make sure. No, looks good on there. So we just simply probably want to make this link values back together, and then let's do 50 all the way around. 25. That's good enough. Look at that. So that's much better now. So it's just playing around with things until you're happy with it and looks neat. So then some of this is a little bit more advanced. It was still fine how it looked, but I'm just showing you guys so you understand how to fully make your website ready to go and live for both desktop and mobile. So we're there. Don't have to change a lot. We'll go to here like that. And then you would probably reduce the size of the spacer on this. Doesn't need to on the mobile. We could have a tiny one like that. And then all these, we could maybe center these. No, they're fine like that. And then got all that. That's good enough. I'm happy with that. And then we would just center this as well. Like that. Awesome. Now that is now all done, ready to go for mobile, which is awesome. Easy as that. And then you can have a look at the portrait and have a look through here and just make sure everything is good, which it already looks to me pretty good. Now you have to remember, not a lot of people are going to be visiting on an iPad anyway. So I usually will make sure at least that it works well enough. But we don't need to overthink it too much. So this here menu, I might make the break point of this a tablet. And then there we go. So now that just means that it, on a tablet, it turns to the breakpoint, becomes that hamburger icon like that, just to fix that up so I don't have to waste time trying to get it all good. But there we go. Happy with that.